Good day everyone, I'm Kylstre Cababaro from San Marcelino, Zambales. I introduce to you my fellow groupmates. First, Rica Marjorie Manalan from Abangan, Zambales. Renne Lupio from Abangan, Zambales. Clarisse Gesultura from Palawig, Zambales. Grace Miranda from San Felipe, Zambales. Berdejo from San Felipe, Zambales. And Dacpano from San Felipe, Zambales. And also, Desmond Funiestas from San Felipe, Zambales. And we are the Group 3 for the case study entitled Ryanair, the evolution of competitive strategies. We start our topic for the overview of the study. Ryanair was founded in 1985 and owned by Michael O. Leary. Ryanair had a commitment to low-fare air travel and making air travel affordable for the people in Ireland and UK. Ryanair was the first European airline specifically set up to offer low fares on short-haul intra-European routes. Ryanair's strategy is to provide an no-frill service with low fares designed to stimulate demand. Mission and strategies. Ryanair's mission is to offer low fares that generate increased passenger traffic while maintaining a continuous focus on cost containment and efficiency operation. Ryanair's objective is to firmly establish itself as Europe's leading low-fare scheduled passenger airline through continued improvements and expanded offerings of its low-fare service. Objective of the study. The study goal is to highlight Ryanair's past success by analyzing the airline industry and Ryanair. Background of the case. With a staff of 25 people, the Ryan family started Ryanair in 1985 in Dublin, Ireland, with the sole purpose of creating an airline with the lowest fares in all Europe. The first route was with 15-seat Banderet aircraft that flew from Waterford, Ireland to London, Gatwick, and England. The aircraft was so small that the cabin crew had to be shorter than 5 feet 2 inches in order to operate in the cabin. By the end of the first year, Ryanair had serviced 82,000 passengers with only 2 routes in operation. The airline was an instant success because of its ability to keep to its price less than half of competing fares. For instance, in 1986, Ryanair was able to charge €99 for a flight from Dublin to London, while British Airways' lowest fare for the same flight was €209. As a result of Europe First airfare was broke out, and Aer Lingus and British Airways began cutting prices in order to compete.
The launch and early development. Ryanair, now firmly established as Europe's largest low-fare airline, began operation back in 1985 with the launch of a daily flight on a 15-seater turboprop aircraft between Waterford Airport in the southeast of Ireland and London Gatwick. The company had commitment to low-fare air travel and making air travel affordable for people in Ireland and the UK. But in the early years, problems were encountered in delivering this commitment. In the company's first year, its 57 employees carried just over 5,000 passengers on each one route. In 1995, Ryanair successfully beat Aer Lingus and British Airways by becoming the largest passenger airline on the Dublin-London route. It also became the largest Irish airline operating in out of Dublin. Continued accomplishments led to the company going public on the Dublin and Nasdaq stock exchanges in 1997. The share price more than doubled on the first day of trading. In 1999, Ryanair financial reporting switched from pounds to euros. In 1986, Ryanair broke the high fare cartel, which was then operated by the two state airlines, Aer Lingus and British Airways, on the Dublin-London route. The Dublin-London route has stagnated at about 1 million passengers annum between 1975 and 1985, and was then characterized by some of the highest airfares in Europe. Prior to Ryanair, the normal airfare between Dublin and London in 1985 was €209 return. Ryanair began services on the May 23, 1986 with two turboprop PA748 aircraft and an introductory launch fare of €94.99 return. Ryanair was the first airline specifically set up to offer low fares on short-haul intra-European routes.
Over the next 3 years, 1987 to 1989, Ryanair expanded, rapidly opening many new routes between Ireland and the UK, increasing the fleet by adding jets and additional turboprop aircraft. Whilst customers continue to flock to Ryanair for the low fares, costs were not controlled and the company continued to rack up losses. By 1989, the company employed 350 people, operated 14 aircraft, 4 different types, as carrying 600,000 passengers a year, but had managed to lose €20 million in just 4 years. New management team. Under a new management team, a major overhaul of the airline was undertaken in 1990 to 1991, which Ryanair relaunched as the first of a new breed of low fares, no frills airline in relaunching the airline in the way. The management was adopting the formula so successfully pioneered by Southwest Airlines in the US in the period following the regulation of the American domestic aviation market, which took place in 1978. Non-profitable routes were eliminated. The network was cut back from 19 to just 5 routes. The turboprop aircraft were disposed of airfares across the remaining network were substantially reduced, with 70% all seats offered of the two lowest fares. On the Dublin-London routes, for example, a new promotional fare of just €69 return was launched, which stimulated a whole new era of growth for Ryanair. By 1991, Ryanair was operating an all-jet fleet of 6 aircraft, employing 350 people, carrying 700,000 passengers on just 5 routes, and it had recorded its first ever profit, despite the damage done to the airline industry by the Gulf War in 1991. Over the next few years, schedules on the key Dublin-London route were increased. Average airfare were lowered. New routes were launched from Dublin to Birmingham, Glasgow, Manchester, and Gatwick, while traffic continued to grow strongly. By 1994, Ryanair was employing over 500 people, carrying over 1.5 million passengers per annum, offering lower than ever airfares of just €49 return on Dublin-London route, and had recorded its 4th continuous year of profitability. 1994 also saw the acquisition of Ryanair's first Boeing 737 aircraft, which an order for 6 737-200 series aircraft, 130 seats being purchased direct from Boeing. Over the subsequent 3 years, a further 15 737-200 aircraft were purchased, bringing the fleet to 21.
To coincide with this expansion of the fleet, many more new routes were opened by Ryanair between Ireland and UK. Increased frequencies were offered on all routes, and airfares were lowered yet further. As a result, in 1995, the airline's 10th anniversary, Ryanair had become the biggest passenger carrier on the Dublin-London route, with total passengers of 2.25 million per annum, and the workforce exceeded 600 people. 1997 represented a milestone year for Ryanair. Thanks to the full deregulation of European Union air transport, the airline was free for the first time to open up new routes to continental Europe. Services were launched from London's smaller Stansted Airport to Stockholm and Oslo, as well as from Dublin to Paris and Brussels. Again, Ryanair, entering these markets, offered airfares which were more than 50% lower than the cheapest fares then provided by the flag carrier airlines. Passengers responded enthusiastically and in great numbers to the arrival of low fares for the first time in these European markets. Ryanair was the first low-fares airline to offer scheduled services from the UK to continental Europe and vice versa. 1997 also saw Ryanair Holdings plc float on the Dublin and New York Nasdaq stock exchanges, enabling all of its then 700 employees to become shareholders in the airline. At the time, the airline was capitalized at a market value of about $400 million and was carrying over 3 million passengers per annum on its network of 18 routes. Ryanair as competing head-to-head with many of Europe's biggest airlines including British Airways, SAS, Alitalia, Lufthansa, Air France, and Air Lingus.
Growth continued until 1999. Ryanair was founded by a group of Irish businessmen The airline has become the largest airline in Europe, although the aggressive and relentless addition of extra routes and new operating bases. In 1999, Ryanair was awarded Airline of the Year by Irish Air Transport User Committee and was voted one of the best managed airlines in the world by International Aviation Week magazine. It has spread in activities far beyond in Irish routes and operates throughout Europe. From the very beginning, Ryanair had an aggressive direct sales approach. By 2007, the airline was reporting over 90% of its direct sales via the internet. The airline has continued to grow rapidly in the new century despite other airlines copying aspects of its low fares, no frills business model. It has become the largest airlines in the Europe throughout the aggressive and relentless addition of extra routes and new operating bases. It has spread its activities far beyond its Irish roots and operates throughout Europe. In 2012, the airline carried over 79 million passengers and had mere 7,000 staff, but remains committed to offering low fares since average fares that year as 43 euro. The growth of the airline passenger number has not, however, been mirrored by growing reputation for customer services, as lower fares has generally led to a lack of focus on services standards. The Time reported in 2002 for instance that he received more consumer complaints about Ryanair than any other airline, STRAMA 2002. And the Advertising Standard Authority, which monitors the accuracy of advertising claims in the UK, had upheld several claims against the airline. Complaints included the inability to change ticket details once they have been booked, charging for every conceivable additional extra flying to secondary airports, sometimes remote from the cities they come to serve, and the lack of clarity in the advertising message Ryanair uses.
Despite these difficulties with customers, it did not seem to deter them from booking cheap travel with Ryanair. In 2002, Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary bluntly challenged existing assumptions about customer service and made it clear with the deal was with customer service at his airline. When he defended his well-defined service, "We guarantee to give you the lowest airfare. You get a safe flight. You get a normally on-time flight. That's the package. We don't give and won't give you anything more on top of that. Just hire 2002. Ryanair in 2013-2014. The formula certainly seems to have worked. The International Air Transport Association IATA 2013 statistic confirmed that Ryanair carried more international passengers than any other airline. In 2013, Ryanair carried 81.3 million international passengers, almost 29 million more than second place EasyJet, 52.7 million, and 30 million more than third place Lufthansa, 507 million. Next. Passenger numbers at Ryanair had continued to grow, but increasingly the airline was being challenged as new competitors came into the market. Existing low-cost competitors such as EasyJet offered additional features and traditional carriers adjusted their business models to compete more effectively. At the same time, consumers had become more sophisticated. Comparative shopping for the best deals on the internet had become the norm, though there was a continuing appetite for the lowest possible fares. Adverse publicity and a complicated website had led to perception that the lowest fares were not necessarily those of Ryanair, ones of the cost of extras.
of which there were many have been included.
The Sunday Times reported that Michael O'Leary, that fast-talking, outspoken boss of Ryanair, has had his wings clipped. He says he is finally listening to his customer, Barber 2014. In September 2013, Ryanair has issued a profit warning, and the following month, the airlines announced that it will be rolling out what is called a series of customer service improvements. Michael O'Leary himself criticized the website for its lack of clarity and several other aspects of the airline operations, and career out of series of media interview in which he claimed that the airlines must become more responsive to customer needs and learn from its mistake through an easier to use Ryanair.com website, 17 to 5 click to BMK, 24 hours grace period for minor booking errors, a free small second carry-on bag, my Ryanair customer registration service, my accepting group and corporate bookings, allocated seats on all flights, problems of Ryanair encountered, lack of focus on service standards, complaints, consumer and become more sophisticated, new competition come into the market, comparative shopping for the best deals on the internet become the norm. Solution for Ryanair's problem: listening to their customers, customer service improvements, become more responsive to customers' needs, accepting group and corporate bookings, 24 hours grace periods, a free small second career on bag, allocated seat on all flights.
Recommendations. The case study has provided the problems and issues encountered by the Ryanair in spite of its strategy. One of the problems is in terms of handling customer or target market. In addition, another problem is ensuring quality service. In this manner, the strategic option that can be used by the company for satisfying both internal and external customers and marketing environment is the use of total quality management. Total quality management is a philosophy of management that is driven by the constant attainment of customer satisfaction through the continuous improvement of all organizational processes. It is a management philosophy that seeks to integrate all organizational functions such as marketing, finance, design, engineering, production, customer service, and others to focus on meeting customer needs and organizational objectives. Pushing problem solving and decision making down in the Ryanair, especially to their operations and services, may allow people who do the work to both assess and take remedial action in order to deliver an operation or service that meets the needs of their customers. In applying total quality management to airline operations, they must be able to combine it with the core strategy of the industries. This does not mean that such airline companies must have total changes. It is important that in application of the total quality management to the Ryanair operations and services, they must also consider that an appropriate strategy should be used in order to employ a total quality operations and services that would satisfy all clients and customers.
And that's all for our case study. We hope you understand it well, and thanks for watching.